Question number 1. If elected, what would be your top priorities for Qualicum Beach?
My top priorities for Qualicum Beach is for the public to be more informed in detail of why and what our council has passed, or why there was an opposing decision. It costs time, money, and energy to review a decision. When we haven't been given a full disclosure, which way are we going to go? Are we just going to let the current council say, this is the way it is, but then there is someone that's saying, well, no, I don't agree? Community planning is serious business to be mindfully assessing experts and professional consultant reports, not based on a layperson opinion or emotion or as a campaign issue. We are still backpedaling regarding the roundabout when it's been in the process here for more than 8 years. Rehashing that when there is an urgent need to be addressing attainable housing for young families, service workers, and our retirees, as well as supportive housing for those with health issues, Qualicum Beach missed the September 17 deadline for housing proposals with BC Housing. We need a housing task force to work on grants and proposals and not miss opportunities. Parksville has gotten approval for a 68 rental unit. I hear it is 1 and 2 bedrooms to be constructed to BC-built green building standards, and it's going to be 4 stories high. So we should look at our neighbors, look around us, what other communities are doing, and work together on getting what we need here in our own community. Thank you.
The needs that I see in this community are twofold. One is housing, and second is community engagement. I'll start with community engagement. I've knocked on several hundred doors so far and had some really good conversations. It's actually a pleasure when I come through the door, or when you all came through the door, there were a lot of you that I recognized your faces, and I think that that's important as a representative of our community, is to really know who represents you and to know that they'll listen to what your needs are. So that's the first thing I would like to make sure that we address as a council, is to make sure that the voices of our community are listened. The second is housing. We have no rentals in this community and a serious lack of housing mobility. Whether it's affordable housing or luxury homes, there are no options in this community. In the discussions I've had with many of you at the front door, that is your number one concern. And those are the 2 issues I would like to see addressed.
Yes, I think one of the things that we do miss is we do a good job of putting together an OCP, but we don't do a good job of following up what the wishes are of this community. And attainable housing has been on that list for a long, long time. What we should be doing is following the OCP and having that direction from you. We should be looking at land that's available and allocating and zoning that land up front, so that investors, etc., can step up to the table and say, that's what you want, that's what you're looking for, I'm willing to do it, and this is what we need to make it work. And find a way in our toolbox to make that work, because it's important. We have a lot of available land in this community, town-owned land. Even look at the Public Works Yard. What an opportunity. So close to town, and we've got available land at the airport that will be a more suitable place, I think, for the Public Works Yard. But there's plenty of opportunities like this in this town that could give us the availability of that housing that we need so badly close to the town community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have I have one general and several specific priorities. My top priority generally would be to take the middle road of compromise and moderation. I plan to look at facts and evidence, studies, unbiased information, make decisions in the best interest of the town. Specifically, my top priority, without a doubt, would be to baby the East Village project to completion. It's the most exciting thing to happen in a long time, and we can't afford to lose it. I think it could lead to an economic revival for the whole community. As well, I want to have another go at passing a cap on age-restricted strata so that young families at least have a chance to live here. My other top priority would be to ensure that the new waterfront park, which I think should be called Little Park after Miss Little, and it's not huge, becomes a vibrant addition to the Qualicum Beach recreational mix. Thank you.
The primary concern I have as a candidate is the quality of life of the citizens in this community. As such, 2 priorities immediately come to mind. First, the availability of housing for lower and middle income citizens, and the second is preserving the independence of seniors. Affordable housing is something that's been a problem for some time, but back-to-back years of 15% growth in real estate prices, coupled with a pervasive lack of rental accommodation, mean that more and more of our citizens are being left behind. Let's say we were to house every low-income senior and every low-income teenager and child with their parents in one development. The development looked like Kiwanis, about 34 units. We need about 13 stories to house everyone in Qualicum Beach who's currently a low-income family according to Canada Census data in 2016. Oh, sorry. So yeah, just if we're going to house everyone who's low income for the children and low income seniors in Qualicum Beach, it would look like the Kiwanis Park Village development with 34 units. It would have to be 13 stories high to house every low income child, their parents, and low income senior in the town. Growing up in a low income household in Canada means a child has a 70% less chance of going on to post-secondary. That's 32 children in our town, at least. For working age adults, median full-time wages have increased by 11.2% in the past decade. That's lower than the rate of inflation. It doesn't even take into account the fact that in the past 5 years, real estate prices have increased by 66%. Low-income seniors, particularly widows and widowers without equity, also struggle to make ends meet with OAS and CPP. To address this, we need to partner with BC Housing and possibly the Federal National Housing Strategy to offset the high cost of building on the island, which is $230 a square foot. In conjunction with a nonprofit or something we create expressly for the purpose, we should aim to have 50 units built in 4 years. We also should strike up a housing task force to look at creating a housing authority and a community investment fund. I also prioritize the independence of seniors. There's more to talk about. I'm running out of time, so hopefully we get back to that issue subsequently in the debate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Early in the official community plans process, we sought the direction from residents about the most important issues. And we got about 2,000 respondents. The strongest response was housing. During the last 5 years, our real estate market has exploded, creating a gap between household income and housing affordability. The single most pressing election issue, therefore, how should the town address the growing housing concern that is putting enormous pressures on our residents and adversely impacting community health, school enrollment, local services, volunteerism, and other contributors to our quality of life. I support leveraging the town-owned lands to address the need for affordable and attainable housing, increasing housing density in the village center, and working with other levels of government, private and non-profit organizations, and of course, the innovative solutions on our airport properties. And the redevelopment of the light industrial area is called 2nd Avenue East Village. Some of the other concerns people had that we need to address is the attraction and retention of family physicians and other healthcare providers. Another one was about the waterfront master plan. We have a huge improvement to our waterfront master plan this year alone with the St. Andrew's Lodge, the improvements to the Brandview area. We actually bought a house at the end of the Seawall Walk. You know, it's a very tricky spot to go around at the bottom of Bay Street. The town bought that house. We'll take that away, we extend the Seawall Walk and make it safer for people to get by. So I think there's lots of opportunities for us to work with, but those are the pressing issues that the community has indicated to us in the Quality of Life Survey. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. I have 5 or 6 points to make. A top priority for me has always been to preserve our quality of life and to protect our environment. We are a tourist town, so it's important to residents and tourists that we keep up our beautification and our town housekeeping. I feel it is important to engage residents where possible, especially when we have new major projects coming forward. I think we've always done this in the past. We've got a couple of new major projects coming forward. One is the East Village project, the other is the Old Bus Garage project. A couple of plans for it, but there's more conversation. We need to develop a housing strategy for all and keep this up to date with the quality of places, homes we have in town. So the housing strategy, I think, will be on everybody's list. We need to continue to work to combat climate change. Example, here in Qualicum Beach, we are faced with both situations. One, high tides, and tides getting higher, but also rainfall. And rainfall that used to fall in 1 week now falls in 2 days, and it's putting a strain on some of our river and our creeks and our infrastructure. We need to seek common support for what we do, and I believe it's very important that we follow our quality of life input. I put so much reliance on that, and I really thank you for coming out and filling out the quality of life report. That tells us what we should be doing as a council. I've also been involved since 2002 with many of our town projects, and most of them Most of our town projects I've been involved with, very proud with. The gardens, we opened up 2nd Avenue, the work we've done on the beach. A good example is Home Hardware. You know, we took some time. I think that's one of our beautiful stores in town. And we've got so many other things we can be proud of here in Qualicum Beach. So thanks, I'll pass it on.
There are a number of important issues facing the town. Housing, of course, is the most important. There's other problems I want to talk about today, because everybody else is talking about housing. Let's talk about healthcare, patient-centered healthcare. And I'm speaking to young families and seniors alike. The Perfect Storm Group has worked hard on this file and has proposed a multidisciplined medical facility in our town. It has not happened. It happened in Comox, where it has a team-based medical care center. It is called the Valley Center Clinic. 4 doctors' positions, 1 nurse practitioner. This is a special project because it's 4 positions, which means there's 8 doctors that rotate through those 4 positions, including a young female doctor that has a couple of kids who wants them to spend some time at home. That keeps it fresh. There is a nurse practitioner that is actually paid by Island Health. And the doctors pay 30% of their gross to an on-site administrator who looks after the administration and billing. This model works. I want to bring this model to Qualicum Beach, and I am putting a target on the old fire hall as a location that would be close to everyone, and this one would be set up in such a way, and I talked to the Perfect Storm about this, that there would be room for specialists to come in. And it's like a hub, and the spokes would go out. And at the end of those spokes, you would have physiotherapists, massage therapists, anything that you need to support your health. And everything would come back to that hub, so none of your information would be missing. That happens today. So no more go to the doctor. Thank you.
Yeah, I've talked to just under 2,000 residents in my campaigning so far, whether that's on the doorstep knocking on doors or on the streets. I hear lots of concerns. I think one that is really important to me is to restore the respectful relationship between council, our town staff, our school board, our local partners, our businesses, our developers, and most importantly, our residents. To me, that is the most important issue right now. You can't get anything done if you don't have a respectful relationship with your partners. I also want to talk about housing, because housing wraps into everything. In my opinion, our lack of youth and families, our lack of doctors, it all ties into housing. We need to look at all of our options, not just one option. We need to look at all the options. We need to listen to our OCP, and we need to listen to all of you. That is the most important thing. After all, that is council's job. Thank you.
So as mayor, my first priority will be to establish a council code of conduct so that over the next 4 years, council members act in a manner that befits the role and responsibilities of the positions and your expectations. We need to be leading by example. I will establish a housing task force, and together we will develop a housing strategy for this community. In 2008, the Council of the Day identified the need for a comprehensive, affordable housing policy. 10 years later, still no policy. We need to get on with the review of our development cost charges, or DCCs. The previous council had made changes to the DCC bylaw that made it possible for developers to have 100% of their fees automatically forgiven. So last election, many of us ran on the platform of reviewing this bylaw. This review was delayed pending the adoption of our official community plan, and now that the OCP has been completed, it's time to get on with it. I will bring a citizens-first approach to council. I used to ask the kids when they were touring the council chamber, who do you think is the boss of the mayor? Well, it's you, the residents. So council and staff should be there for you.
However, over this last term, I have heard from citizens that they contacted the town but never received a response. Our customer service standards must reflect the quality you expect and deserve. We also need to get to work on rebuilding our relationship with town employees. We have not yet recovered from the lockout. We also need to do our new OCP justice by reviewing the action items, such as developing the tree management plan and bylaw and dusting off the sustainability plan. I also want to improve ways council communicates and interacts with citizens. We can do better, and I think this would be a good start. Thank you.
These are all great, great answers I've heard so far, but I believe the single most pressing issue in our community is working together to solve the challenges facing us today. Solutions require teamwork, leadership. We need to set aside differences, stop the infighting, and start working together to protect and enhance our quality of life. The number one issue in Qualicum Beach is doctor shortage. There's no doubt about that. The Perfect Storm Group has been working with the town of Qualicum Beach to solve this problem for 5 years. They recommend a community clinic, and now is the time to build it. It's a tough job. We must succeed. We need to build a world-class community clinic. The technology and management have to be top-notch. The doctors have given us their wish list. We know what it takes. Now we have to build it. My promise to the community is I will make sure the best possible team is working on this project. That includes business leaders, builders who care about the community. They tell me they're ready and willing and able to build that clinic. It's time to finish that job. As I said earlier, the other issue I hear all the time at the doors and on the street is the issue of housing and affordability. Housing choices for seniors leaving their homes, young workers, young families, and the less fortunate. Everyone, young and old, sees this as a pressing and important issue. These projects take several years to complete, even when everything goes perfectly. The town cannot afford another missed opportunity like the housing project at Beach and First. Tiny houses at the airport are definitely not the answer. We need rental apartments for youth and workers and affordable houses for families. My Qualicum Beach includes housing seniors leaving their homes, people who work in seniors housing facilities, restaurants, families, pools. It's time to get to work and enhance this quality of life at Qualicum Beach, and now is the time.